Welcome to Silent Hill, I guess. Today I'm here to talk to you about Monkey D. Dragon and Monkey D. Garp and their relationship, really. Like quite a while ago, before the recent last few chapters and the end of God Valley, and the prison cell scene with Garp and Dragon, where Garp freed Dragon out of the prison cell. I had a theory running around in the head of mine before I was starting to make some YouTube videos. And in that theory, I was kinda certain that Garp is actually working with Dragon. Like, this is not really that crazy, to be honest. Like, what are Dragon's goals and what are Garp's goals? Like, Garp wants to protect the common man, everybody, the little guy. He told Sengoku, like, there's gotta be someone barking up that big cliff. Like, if you're going up in ranks, you're gonna be sitting on top of the cliff. I'm gonna stay down here, and I'm gonna keep you in check. And if you're getting corrupt, I'm gonna kill you myself. Like, Garp is not the absolute justice kind of marine, like believe and do anything the Marines do and want. That is Akainu, or at least as far as we know of Akainu right now. Like, his justice is absolute justice. Like, the world government says do this, he does this. The world government says kill these people on the ship. He sinks the entire ship. He's absolute justice, no questions asked. Garp is not that. Garp is different, and that's calling back to the prison scene where Dragon tells Garp, I'm leaving the Marines, and I hate you, Dad. So Dragon, in a very recent chapter, clearly stated that he hates his father, so why would he be working together with him? Well, after that chapter release, I'm not so sure about the working together part anymore. But what I am still sure about is that for the revolution of Dragon to work, for Dragon's revolution to work out and actually function, a person like Garp is needed. A person in the Marines, that stayed in the Marines, is needed. And Garp's reply to what Dragon told him I hate you, Dad. In the fan translation, it was first translated wrong and really badly, with Garp just saying K, just saying okay to that. It's like, okay, and then him giving him the key. But the better translation for that apparently is from the Japanese, is Garp saying, I understand. Now, okay or I understand are very different. Like your son is telling you, I'm leaving the Marines and I hate you, Dad. And you are very much like, yeah, I'm a Marine and I'm upholding justice and I'm looking out for the little guy. And your son is telling you, I hate you. And after what happened on God Valley just now, what Garp just saw. Garp saw on just God Valley, he saw Emu. He saw Emu possessing Saturn, and he gets it. He very much understands Dragon, the Marines. That's not for you. That's not it. He understands, but he can't bring himself to leave the Marines because there is a job for him to be done. There is work for him to be done, and the Marines are necessary. And there needs to be someone like Garp in the Marines for the revolutionary army, for the revolution to work. There needs to be someone in the Marines like Garp. And I think this also has to do with Sword very much. I think without Garp, Sword doesn't exist. We don't know who founded Sword. We don't know who's the founder of Sword. It might not be Garp. But still, even if Garp isn't the founder of Sword, because Garp might not be the guy that founded Sword, but he might be the guy that inspired that guy that actually founded Sword. Like, there might still not be a Sword without Garp if Garp didn't stay in the Marines. If Garp went with Roger, for example, and took on his offer and became a pirate, then Sword might not exist. What we know for certain, Kobe and Helmeppo wouldn't be in Sword. Kobe and Helmeppo wouldn't have become Garp's apprentice and learned from him. Kobe wouldn't have had this insane power boost by learning from Garp, being Garp's pupil, and be at the forefront today, now, where he is after what Garp said, the future of the Marines. Kobe is, according to Garp, the future of the entirety of the Marines. Garp thinks that's the boy. He's gonna be the future of the Marines. And I think this will come true in the story as well. And I think the revolution is gonna happen at some point with Luffy, with Dragon, with all of them together in a way. But also a point I wanted to make is how's Dragon's revolution supposed to work? He's just gonna destroy the world government? Just everything? And what then? After revolution, if a government has been taken down, there has to be another government, otherwise you just have chaos and piracy. If you have just that, then there's no more law, it's just plunderings, no one is safe in this case. That's not better than what we have right now in the One Piece world then. What Dragon wants to destroy is not even the Marines, and he says this much. He doesn't want to get rid of the Marines. He wants to get rid of the Celestial Dragons. He wants to get rid of the top brass, the 5 elders, the Celestial Dragons. And now that he knows of Imu, he wants to get rid of Imu. This one ruler of the world. Because they are the ones that are really unjust. The Marines aren't really that unjust. They follow, sometimes, depending on the Marine, they follow orders that are coming from the world government that are not the greatest, the world government. They have slaves working for them. We had that scene in Marijoa where there's moving rollways just for the world nobles to not have to walk. And it's run by slaves underground. They have slave labor. They are definitely not good, man, in what they do. And Emo was sinking the entire world, and whatever his deal is, definitely not the good people. So they are the problem. But after a revolution, after you get rid of the top brass, you still need the police. And the Marines are the police. So you're gonna change some of the rules, like slavery. Get rid of that. You're gonna change some of the laws. The Marines are there to make sure they are kept. But you need someone to make sure the laws are kept. So the Marines are needed. But you gotta get rid of the bad Marines, I guess. So there's bad Marines in the story. We have Accent Morgan in the very beginning of the story already, a corrupt Marine abusing power, and no one really cares about it. Up until Garp shows up and arrests him. But yeah, and I think very much, yes, we need a big, impressive Marine like Garp to be there, to be leading. Or prepare the next leader like Kobe to be leading the future Marines for the revolution to work. And yes, Dragon here at this very young age, after the events of God Valley, he's How can you support this, Dad? I hate you. But very interesting, and I looked this up. But in Enies Lobby, after Enies Lobby, after the events of Enies Lobby and Luffy are declaring war on the government, Garp meets up with Luffy and he doesn't arrest him. Like, it's his grandson. He won't lay a finger on Luffy ever. He's gonna like pretend throw like cannonballs at Luffy's ship, but like if Garp was to go all out in the early parts of One Piece, there's a few scenes where Garp is chasing after Luffy. And if Garp were to go all out, he would kill Luffy there. We all know this. We all know how powerful Garp is after the last chapters. Like, he could kill Luffy. He could sink this ship if he really wanted to. So him throwing cannonballs at Luffy's ship is basically him like playing with a little child, just with using like a little bit of his power. Like, okay, I'm gonna make it look like I'm trying to do something here, but I'm not really doing something here. It's my grandson. I'm not taking him in, no. Yeah. And very much the same about Dragon. Like, Dragon is a revolutionary. Dragon officially has the title of the worst criminal in the world. And Garp is a marine and he's not gonna take him in. So we don't know if Garp is in Sword, because Sword are the marines that are basically not part of the world government anymore. Like they have set their resignations. But even if he isn't in Sword, Garp acts like he is in Sword. Garp acts like that. Well, and I'm getting off track. Okay. In his lobby, Garp meets Luffy. And he tells him, oh, your father told me that he met you in Loketown. That's in chapter 432 when that happens. And Luffy's like, my father? But what really is the important message I take from here is like, Dragon and Garp talked to each other. Wait a minute. So the worst criminal in the world talked to a marine. Garp is very much on talking terms with his son. And very much like Luffy, he won't take him in. Ever. No, that's his son. That's his family. That's everything for Garp. And the way Dragon acts is not against any of Garp's ethics. It's not going against anything Garp wants. Like, Dragon is not a bad actor. He's not evil. So there's no reason for Garp to do anything. If Dragon was killing innocent people, maybe Garp would do something then. Maybe he would look over, hey, him being part of his family then. But that's not what's going on here. I think if they're not directly working together, if that's not a part anymore, at least Dragon needs Garp in the Marines, in the position where he is, in the influence he has, in the formative way he has for the Marines with Kobe. How he's teaching the young people of the Marines to be good Marines, to be actually decent Marines. That is very much needed for the Revolutionary Army. So, and at the very least they're on talking terms. So like if they're not working together, they're at the very least in talking terms. And they might exchange some information. Now, Dragon just learned about Emu from when Sabo saw Emu kill Cobra, when he tried to save Cobra and didn't manage to, and barely got away from Emu. So yes, Garp didn't tell Dragon everything, so they're not 100% working together, but they need each other. For the revolution to work, Dragon needs Garp, if he wants to or not. So yeah, I guess I'm not 100% anymore on the theory of, yeah, they're working together, man. Garp is the inside man in the Marines for Dragon. That's what I was legit thinking for a while there. But at the very least, if it wasn't for Garp, the revolution wouldn't work. That's where I stand right now. And yeah, I think that's a very interesting thing. Also, going back to the I understand part where Garp says that to Dragon, and it's all he says. Just I understand that you hate me. That also reminds me when Ace was killed. And after Ace was killed and he goes back to Fuchsia Village, and Dadan is there, and Dadan is basically Ace's mother, like his foster mother. She cared for Ace, she brought him up, and then he went off in the world and became a pirate later on. But from very young age, Garp left Ace with Dadan to care for. And she was his mother, and he comes back to the village and he basically just goes there to get beaten up by her. He knows he's gonna get beaten up by her. And she cries and wails on him and tells him, why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you stop it? And Garp just takes it, because he has like a self-hatred for working for the world government, really, I think. There's a part of self-hatred in Garp there in his character where he came there very well knowing she's gonna beat me up, and he told all the Marines, stand back, she is a friend. He told all his men, like, don't do anything. He came there for a beating. Because he hates himself, because he couldn't bring himself to stop Ace's execution, couldn't stop Akainu from killing him. Also at Marineford, when after Akainu killed Ace, he starts walking towards Akainu, and Sengoku stops Garp and puts him to the ground in his face, and he's like, yeah, keep holding on to me or I'm gonna kill Akainu. Keep holding on to me. Like, Garp was there the entire time, but he couldn't do anything to save Ace. He couldn't bring himself to do something there. But he wanted to. So Garp is really in a position in the Marines, after everything we saw with Scott Valley, he hates the world nobles. He hates the Five Elders. He called, after he saw Saturn and with Emo on top of him, like this weird creature, and he's going to like fucking punch that, and one of the Marines like, no, that's Saint Saturn. You can't do that, sir. Garp is like, that's a very fitting form for one of those vermin. He hates those world nobles. But in the Marines, as a Marine, he to some certain point like has to follow orders by the world nobles. And to stay in the Marines, he couldn't stop the execution of a pirate. I think it would be different if it was Luffy up there. I don't think Garp would sit by anymore. I think there's a certain point where Ace wasn't his son and his grandson, so he didn't have as strong as of an attachment, but he kinda had an attachment. He kinda was his grandson. I mean, Ace is Luffy's brother, and like there's no blood relationship, but still, Garp saved Ace at a very young age because Roger asked him to, and yeah. And then later on he did nothing. But why did he not do nothing? basically to stay in the Marines, to stay protecting the little man, to be the guy that is there down at the cliff barking up, to go sometimes against it, but only as far as he knows he can, to not like get kicked the fuck out, I guess. Like Garp is a really interesting and complex character, and yeah, I love Garp. I love his character. Yeah, that's all about it for today. Here from the foggy forest. So yeah, see you next time.